It's frozen.
It said live for me.
Well, my whole screen's frozen, so I'm just going to say it's going to come back in a second or two, or I'll do the entire episode without being able to see anything. I don't know.
Can you see me?
Now I can. It's back. All right, great.
It's back.
Welcome to the Moose Milk Podcast. This is episode 112, and we don't know what we're doing. We're just two hot guys doing hot guy stuff.
It's true. It's blast them nips.
I'm Ryan. This is Matt, as always, back after a 2-week absence. How are you? How was your week off? What have you been doing? How are you as good looking as ever?
I don't have an answer to that last question, but thank you.
Yeah.
Week off was good. It was nice and chill. Yeah, good thing we didn't do it because the internet at that cottage was not good. So
yeah, well, I mean,
dicey as could be. So yeah, it was good. We went to a little cottage on this little island. It was really cool. It's like very touristy in the summer, but because we were like so early, there was like not a lot of people out there. So
right.
So yeah, it was kind of nice to not have to deal with like the tourists and stuff.
Sure.
We did like a guided kayaking tour, and we were the only two people on it, so that was kind of cool. We saw some seals. We went to this like little island called Goat Island, and like as we like rolled up to it, there's like all these like huge signs on it that say like, "Do not come on this island. It is a snake breeding island. There's loads of exotic snakes all over the island." And the guy was like, they just put the sign up to make sure nobody would actually come in here, but
that's terrifying.
That's what I said. I was like, oh man, I want to know more about Snake Mountain.
Oh, I don't want to know anything about snake. Like, put a nuke on it.
Yeah, I don't like. Me and you both don't like snakes. We saw a snake when we were walking one of the days too.
No, obliterate them all. Like all these people that are like, oh, it's gonna affect the animal world, and like, oh, you take one thing out, and it ruins everything, and blah 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 blah. I don't give a fuck. Take them all.
Get rid of them.
Obliterate every snake.
Get rid.
We don't need them. They're not helping anything. Fuck off. Oh, rodents would take over. No, they wouldn't.
I mean, they might, but yeah.
Nah, it's fine.
Nah,
there's birds. There's other animals. We don't need snakes. Fuck them.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. I watched a bunch of stuff, and yeah, it was just chill, and work's been shit. And
oh, I hear you on that one.
Yeah, man. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know. How high can I get? I feel like Charlie Day right there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a year older. It was my birthday on Friday,
yes,
so
right.
I kind of.
Happy birthday!
Thanks, buddy.
Did you put candles on your nipples? And
as always, I mean that's my tradition.
I was gonna say that is your birthday tradition.
Yeah, so. I just hang as many candles as I can without getting burnt. No, I don't know. Just hung out with some friends and family, and nothing too crazy. Pretty chill birthday. I had a couple beers, and immediately regretted having a couple beers because I have zero tolerance anymore. And
that's crazy to me as the guy who used to be able to like drink his face off.
I had four beers, and I had the worst hangover in the world the next day. So yeah, I can't drink anymore. So yeah, that's a shame, but whatever. I guess it's healthier that way, but
probably is healthier. Yeah.
So I'm just not going to drink. I mean, maybe during the summer I'll have a beer when it's hot out or something like that. But I just can't. I can't drink like I used to. I don't have the ability anymore. I mean, that's part of getting older, and yeah, it's a shame. But
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I mean, I watched some stuff, and obviously was excited for Guardians. So I've had that on my mind, and I've been playing some video games and just kind of chilling. Nothing too crazy, nothing out of the norm.
Nice. Yeah. I also have nothing out of the norm. I've been customizing a fucking ton. When I was on vacation, I did like 2 or 3 sculpting sessions a day. So like I was getting a ton in, which was awesome. So
that's good. That's good. I mean, as long as you're enjoying it, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, man. I'm making good progress. So
good.
Fucking A.
But yeah. So this week we're going to talk Guardians, but we're going to spoil it. So be prepared for that. But we're going to, just talk a little bit about what we've been watching as we usually do before we get into that. So no fears. If you haven't seen Guardians yet, we'll put up a spoiler warning before we get there. But what you been watching?
Well, before we get into what we've been watching, let's talk about Blink-182. Because
we have to.
I am all over the Blink-182 game at the moment.
I'm not at all.
Did you see their set list? Fuck. Did you see any of the live videos of them playing Cynical or oh man, I love it.
I hated it.
I love it. Can't wait.
It sounded like dog piss.
I would disagree.
Tom sounded awful on
I
those
think Tom's
songs.
sounding great. Honestly, I think they're all. I feel like Tom's using autotune.
Oh, he's 100% using autotune,
which I'm totally on board with.
Especially on Bored to Death. There was autotune like fucking crazy on that song. His pitch did not make sense at all.
I think Mark's legit, but I think Tom's definitely auto-tuning, and I'm here for that because he is not a good singer, and
that's my problem with it. Is like he's such a bad singer that the auto-tune makes it even worse for me because it just doesn't work with his pitch. His pitch is like just through a sentence of it's like oh.
I do like it though, and I like that they seem to be having fun.
That's good.
I think they have good energy, and
they're having fun.
I quite like that set list. So, I mean, there's definitely songs that I would like swap out for other songs,
100%.
like as always. But for the most part, there's enough on it that I'm like, okay. I know I don't think we talked about it on here, but I know you and I have spoke about it, and like I'm pretty surprised that Tom is willing to play Skiba songs.
I'm very shocked, but I think that either shows his ego has calmed down a little bit, maybe with aging, or B, that was part of him rejoining the group, was that like, hey, these are part of our catalog now, and people like these songs, and you're gonna have to be okay with that. Like, I think, I don't know, I see both sides of it. Like, I think it's weird for a band to ask, a lead singer to play other people's songs, especially if Skiba had a part in writing some of these songs. I think that makes it even harder. Is you're not only singing somebody else's lyrics, but somebody that's not in the band anymore. But there's also a lot of bands that go through major lineup shakeups, and they end
up playing the songs.
You have to look at Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah, great example.
Half the members of that band have switched out multiple times. Like it is what it is at this point. Is you can't just not play 6 albums out of your catalog because
one person aren't there. Yeah.
So it's tough, right? But I'm glad they're having fun, and I'm glad the friendship and camaraderie and everything looks like it's solid on stage and everything like that. They're still having a good time. They're still having fun, but like I can't get over how bad Tom sounds, and it's just like I'm very disappointed that they're playing a lot of arenas, which makes their sound even worse. They should be playing outdoors. And B, like,
I get it though, because they're trying to make money, so I get it.
But I mean, they're rich. They don't have to worry about the money aspect. But more money's great, I'm sure. But like you're millionaires. I mean, calm down. But also, like, I think they should be playing some new tracks, and the fact that we haven't really got any other new
I think
tracks
they will.
Is
I think when the new album comes out, they'll swap out some of the songs on the set list for new stuff, I think.
But yeah, probably. But it's still surprising.
They'll probably play 3 songs off of the new album when they release it.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's a fair balance. I think 3 songs is perfect.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping that by the time we get to the Vancouver date, we still have a bit of time. We still have a month and a half. So
yeah, I mean, it's first couple days of the tour. I mean, we're not.
Yeah, I think they're in your neck of the woods tomorrow, aren't they? Monday? They're in Detroit? Michigan on Monday, I think. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I looked, like, I'm really itching for live music, so I've been looking around to see what's like hitting the area over the next few months, and like I found like maybe 7 or 8 shows that I was like, oh man, I'd see that, and then I look at ticket prices, and I'm like, you're fucking out of your mind. I'm not paying that. Like, it's just.
I wanted to go see. I mean, I don't want to see All American Rejects, but that All American Rejects tour with
great tour. Yeah.
Who was the co-headliner?
I don't even remember now, but I seen the show. Hold on,
I can't remember who the co-headline, but the opening bands were what are attractive to me because the Michigan show had Starting Line and Motion City, and
Motion City, Starting Line.
What? Motion City and Starting Line?
Yeah.
Starting Line starting to tour a little bit now too, so I'm like, I saw they did like an East Coast tour, and I'm like, they'll never come to the West Coast, which sucks. But
right. I'm trying to look it up right now, but
Newfound
Glory, that's who it was. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I think Newfound Glory hasn't been popular, like really popular, in a long time, but
yeah, but is All American Rejects?
That's what I was just gonna say.
They were the opening band of Blink-182. They didn't even get to open in front of the shitty band.
Yeah,
like, they were the opener for the shitty band.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I didn't know All American Rejects were popular enough to headline a show, Um, I haven't listened to the radio in
Yeah, I don't know what's active,
10
but I
years,
don't
so
think
like
they have anything new or fresh.
I don't know. I honestly could not tell you, but I mean their last album I listened to was like 2002, so
Do they have something new? I'm looking right now.
but it's a weird lineup. I would put
They
Motion
don't.
City above All American Rejects. I would put Starting Line above All American Rejects. So
Me too.
I don't get it.
And Get Up Kids are opening too. That's like the West Coast has the Get Up Kids.
Yeah, I mean, Get Up
We
Kids
get
aren't
Motion
popular,
City, but I'm like,
yeah.
I've seen them so many times. It's not that I don't want to see them. I'd see them if they were headlining. I'd probably go and see them. But
Yeah, no, we both love Motion City, but like again, it's a band that is touring without an album in the
yeah,
last decade. Like, I don't know. To me, it's
yeah.
very weird. Like,
I
I'm
think
hoping
everyone
something's
just wants to
coming.
get out. That's like again, like talking about prices. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating for higher prices. I hate the high prices too. It makes me way more selective. But
Yep.
I also understand that all of these artists like went 3 years basically without being able to make any real money, and now they're like, we need to make some fucking money.
I totally
So
get it,
I
but
do
like,
get it, but it sucks. It sucks for us.
I look at it more too as though like I think the average person just in general doesn't have as much money as they used to.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's gone up, cost of living's gone up, food prices
Mhm.
have gone up, everything, so on and so forth. And so, like, I think expecting fans to pay $200-300 for tickets is absurd, especially American.
Yeah.
As a Canadian, like I'm not paying $400 for a concert ticket. I refuse to do that.
Yeah.
So
400, I'd probably have to draw the line.
anything over 200, I'm very, very skeptical on. And like even at 200, it would have to be a band that like I really want to see.
Same here. Same here.
I think 100 is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And yeah, like there's a couple bands like Incubus is hitting the casino in like the summer sometime, like June or
Oh,
something like
nice.
that. I've
That's
never seen
probably good.
Incubus. I'm not a huge Incubus fan by any
Yeah.
stretch, but it's
I
like
was at one point, but not
same,
a
same.
huge fan, but I liked them. But
Like
yeah.
early 2000s, 2003,
Yep.
2004. I loved Incubus, but it's a band like I like if the ticket prices were right, I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll go see them. But like I think they're like $75 a ticket, and I was like, man, that's a little steep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of shows hitting Detroit in the
That
next
doesn't
3
surprise me.
months, but it's
That was the
like
best part about living in Windsor was that
totally.
Detroit got great concerts.
But it's like all of them are pricey as fuck.
Yeah.
And it's like Paramore, I think the cheapest ticket I could find was $350.
That's wild to me.
Like not paying that, sorry.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I wasn't happy paying what I paid. I think I almost paid 200 a ticket for Blink. Not quite. I think it was like 189 or 190 or
But Canadian.
American.
Oh, I thought you were seeing I'm in Vancouver.
Oh wait, no, sorry, it was Canadian. Yeah.
Yes, that's not bad then. Like
Yeah.
it's not it's not great, but it's not awful. But like
Yeah.
compared to like some shows, I'm like, okay, that's $250 American, $350 American. Like, you know. Anyway,
pricey.
I hope the tour goes well, and I hope when you go see them, they play everything you want to hear. But like, I've listened to a lot of pop punk in the last couple weeks, but like, it's not something that where I'm like, I probably at this point will never see Blink-182 again in my life. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
It's just if they played like St. Andrews Hall or something like that,
oh god,
I would totally go. But
if they played St. Andrews Hall and I could get tickets, I would fly home for that. Like I would intentionally go home for that.
Big arena shows.
I don't love arena shows myself, but it's the only avenue to access them at this point, and I really want to see them. So,
I totally get it. Totally get it.
I'm riding that hype machine right now. I am all over it. I've listened to those Blink bootleg albums. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, Kate's so annoyed, like that they're always on. So,
yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah,
I just they're just not good enough live to give any time to.
They're gelling. I'm hoping that by the time I see them, they're really gelling because
man,
the tour by then. So I'm hoping.
I'm hoping for you, but like. I live vicariously through you now. I just they just don't do it for me anymore, sadly.
I understand.
But I've been listening to like fuck ton of Alkaline Trio and like went back to listen to some Motion City, went through the Paramore catalog. Like I went through all kinds of stuff just because I've been feeling that era of music. But yeah, I don't have any concerts lined up right now, so sadly.
I found this new band that Cheney 180 from the Toy Migos sent me to. They're called Signal to Noise. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
The singer sounds a lot like Adam from Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, nice.
and I'm quite digging it. I wasn't really the first few songs, and then like once I got like 3 or 4 in, I was like really digging it, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty catchy. I like this.
Nice.
So I've
I'll
been
have to check
listening
them
to
out.
that. Yeah. The album that I've been listening to is called Kodiak, but yeah, it's good. I've listened
Right
to it
on.
a few times this weekend. So
I would love a new Taking Back Sunday album. Would love a new Taking Back Sunday album. I love Taking Back Sunday so much.
yeah, Kate likes Taking Back Sunday.
They're so good live too.
In terms of stuff I watched, I actually did get some stuff in because I was vacationing and had time. So
Right.
aside from Guardians 3, I watched Guardians 2.
I watched Guardians 1 and 2.
I watched Guardians 1 the week before we left, so I got
Nice.
that one in. I meant to watch Guardians 2 while I was away before I saw 3, but I forgot. And then after I watched 3, I was like, I'm going to watch 2 and cry when Yondu dies.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
I was very sad. And
then, two is not as good as I remember it being. Like, I think there's a lot of 2
better than I remembered it being for some reason.
Really? Yeah. I think the soundtrack is by far the weakest.
I think the newest one's the weakest.
Oh, I disagree. I think it's the strongest.
I'm 1, 2, 3 for me. Those are my preferences. But
one's very good. Don't get me wrong.
One's hard to beat.
One is very good, but I really like 3. I thought 2 is by far like my least, but yeah, I don't know. I think parts of 2 really drag.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think a lot of the stuff with Ego drags.
Yeah, I think Ego is really boring at a lot of times, but
I agree.
I love like Rocket in that movie.
I think 2 is the weakest movie.
By far, yeah.
3 even with the holiday special, I think 2.
Holiday special's great. I watched that as well. So.
Me too. Yeah. Aside from watching those, I watched Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, I love that movie.
My ass off. I know, it's so good.
So good.
Love his fucking Dracula musical. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite comedy movies ever, and like, man, I just love Mila Kunis. She's just such a fucking funny, beautiful woman that, like, man. Anyway, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a really funny movie. Me and Kate watched it. We bought like a little mini projector that like you can hook up to your phone or your computer, and we just like hung a bed sheet over like the window at the cottage because they don't have a TV at the cottage,
right?
And we just like projected it onto that and watched it on that.
Did it work well?
Yeah, it worked great.
That's awesome.
I know, it was good. I'm gonna hold on to that little projector because it's small, but it worked really well.
Yeah, those are handy, man. Projectors have come really down in price. Like you can get
I only paid $70 for this.
Yeah,
and it works awesome. And I just connected my Bluetooth speaker to it, and it worked.
That's awesome.
We watched while we were there. We also watched Beef.
I have not seen it yet. How was it?
Interesting. Like I feel like it could have ended after episode 6. I think there's like 10 episodes. The last 4 episodes, it's weird. I don't know. It's okay. It wasn't. I didn't dislike it. Like
a lot of praise, like critically, but
oh wow. I mean, it's good. Like the story's good. I just think it could have ended like way earlier.
That's fair.
So, like it kind of wraps up the main story on like probably like episode 6 or 7, and the last 3 episodes just kind of like drag to me. Like it kind of opens up new storylines that kind of are built off the old ones, but then they kind of just drag and.
Fair.
I don't know. It's fine. It's like Ali Wong and Steven Yeun. Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty good. And then I watched the new John Mulaney special. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
Man, it's really funny. It's all about his time in rehab.
Oh, nice.
He was in rehab for 2 years, right? So
yeah.
For like cocaine and
he's had some problems. Yeah,
he's had some pretty serious issues. So yeah, he pretty much just makes jokes about it. And
hey, yeah, I'm in for that.
It's great. It's really funny. I definitely recommend it. I liked it a lot. So I liked it better than his last one. His last one was.
I thought his last one was pretty weak.
Yeah, I didn't love the last one. Yeah. I've liked all the other ones before it, but the last one I didn't really care for.
Same.
This new one's good. It's got like a nice rejuvenized. There's like a bit where like there's like a kid in the crowd, and like he's like, "This is not." He's like, "Do you know who I am?" And he's like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, this is not the same show that you're used to."
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, so that one's called Baby J, and it's good.
I'll check that out.
And then the last thing I watched was because it was May 4th. It's my tradition for May 4th to watch Star Wars Explains the canon timeline.
Right.
I know I talked about this last year when we did the episode, but
Yeah, no, it's a good channel, and everybody should pay it a visit. I mean,
everyone should watch it. He every year on May the 4th he puts out a full canon timeline of all Star Wars media that is canon, so comic books, cartoons, video games, movies,
and it's
Netflix.
truncated. It's not like a fucking 6-hour watch. Like it's small
Yeah,
enough where you can.
it's still long. It's an hour
it
and 40
is,
minutes,
but it's consumable enough where
yes,
it's not
yes.
like we're not asking you to watch an 8-hour video.
Correct. You can pretty much get the full idea of what the fuck's like happening in that universe. Yeah, like it's educational to say the least. But I really like it, and all the stuff that he added to it this year was really great. So
and he like knows his shit. Like he
knows his shit.
He's
on top of everything too, right? Like he stays up to date with the books. He stays up to date with the comics. He stays up to date with all the shows, the cartoons.
Yeah, him and his wife or his girlfriend. His wife. They do.
I think it's his wife.
I'm not sure. I've watched a few of their Lego streams, and like they'll talk like random stuff. Like people were asking questions in their chat and stuff like that, and they're just like right away like they know exactly what the fuck you're talking about. It's like, holy shit, man, these guys know their stuff. I'm pretty sure they were on I can't even remember what it's called now. There used to be I don't know if it's still ongoing or not. I fell off it, but there used to be this online quiz show that another channel did that was like I can't even think of what it's called now. I used to watch it all the time. It's escaping me, but they would ask like really complex, like they did like straight Star Wars trivia.
Oh, cool.
And I'm pretty sure they were on it at some point, like a few
nice.
years back, but I'll try to remember the channel and pimp it next week. But I fell off it, but it was really, really good.
Cool. Yeah, I love their channel. Every time anything Star Wars related, I always go to them because I'm just like,
they know their
they know their shit.
Yeah.
So that was what I watched in 2 weeks. That's what I got.
Did you
season stuff in beef?
Their new Star Wars, what is it, the animated thing that just came out? Is that out yet?
Visions? I haven't watched it. I didn't really like
the first season, right?
I didn't really love the first season of Visions, and I'm not seeing a lot of love for the second one.
Fair. I didn't know. I just saw that it came out or is
coming. I'm probably not gonna watch it only because I didn't enjoy the first season. It's also not canon, so
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's not canon. So
gotcha.
I think I'm gonna probably pass. I mean, I may eventually put it on. We'll see, but
yeah.
At this point, kind of like,
So I've been watching The Sopranos, and this is my first time through The Sopranos. So people, please don't spoil it for me.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah, it's considered one of the best television shows ever made. It's obviously early 2000s, but I had bought the Blu-rays on like a really cheap Prime Day sale, and nice. I watched the first season, and then I like kind of, I don't know, something must have came out or I don't know something, and I jumped off of it after the first season. And then I was like, you know what? I'm fucking committed. I'm gonna finish this shit up. So
nice.
I started over again. I watched the first season, and I'm about like eight episodes into the second season.
Okay. Did you say you rewatched the first season?
Yeah, I did. Nice. So I'm like 21 episodes in or 20 episodes in. It's really good.
How many seasons in total is there? 5?
6. Okay. But the 6 is like, it was broken in half, so I think it's longer than all the other seasons. I think it's like 10 and 10 or something like that.
Okay.
But they're like 13 episode seasons, I think, from every other season. But yeah, it's obviously early 2000s HBO, and it's good. It's really good. I mean, it's dated at times. There's obviously like, people are using pagers in the first season and like shit like that. The computers are super dated and whatever. But if you like mob movies or mob, like it's right up there as like some of the best shit. And so far, I'm just really enjoying it. It's good. I recommend it for people that haven't seen it. Again, please don't spoil it for me because I don't know anything about it. Except the very last episode, I know how it ends.
Tell him that Jimmy Soprano.
I don't know.
Gets hit by a bus.
It's Tony Soprano, but I don't know anything about the rest of the series.
I like Jimmy Soprano better.
Jimmy's a good mob name.
He is. Jimmy, what are you doing, Jimmy?
Jimmy? Not really Italian.
You got cement shoes on that, Jimmy?
a lot of cement shoes talk. But yeah, so I've been watching that. Obviously, I'm still watching all the other shows that I usually watch. I'm watching From season 2 and super
Good.
solid so far. I still have no idea what
Nice.
the fuck's happening, but it's good.
Sometimes
Succession.
that's good.
Succession is almost done. I just watched the brand new episode tonight.
Kicking ass or what?
Yeah, it's great. It's solid, super solid. It's I'm loving the season. It's written so fucking well.
Yeah, Kate's parents are loving it.
So good. Really, really funny. Really dry, but really funny.
Nice.
What else? Ted Lasso's still going, so I'm still watching that. And Yellow Jackets still going, season 2 on that. So
how much longer is that? Seems like that's been going for a bit now.
They took a week off last week. So I think episode 6 just aired, so there's 4 more.
Okay.
So yeah, it's almost done. But
cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really liking it. It's like another great season. So all those shows I highly recommend. And then obviously I watched Guardians, like we talked about, 1 and 2 in the Christmas special. Nice. And I'm replaying Elder Scrolls V Skyrim because right now video games for me are just really hit and miss, which we're actually going to talk about next week because we're going to do a video game episode next week.
Video game episode.
So I'll talk about video games in its current place, and we're going to go into our memories as early childhood. And
I'm going to break out the Game Genie.
Yeah, you should, man. I have one somewhere.
Do you?
Yeah, it's in one of my closets.
Game Genie.
NES Game Genie.
It was gold. You put it on the tip.
Yeah, kids today have no idea what Game Genie is, but
yeah, I know. They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, so I've been playing Skyrim and I'm enjoying it. I never finished the game because my PS3 died as I was playing it the first time, and I lost a 70-hour save. And I was not playing 70 hours of a game again, so I was like, forget it. But that was 2011, so it's been 12 years.
It's time.
Yeah. So I don't really remember a lot of the game, and I'm enjoying it. It's great. It holds up. The PS5 remaster and everything, and there still hasn't been a sequel to it. So,
Interesting.
Yeah. But other than that, I think that's about it.
Nice. Sounds productive.
Yeah, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks, actually.
It's been 2 weeks, yes.
Yeah. But weather's starting to warm up, which is nice. So
yeah, we're supposed to get really warm weather next week.
Yeah, it's supposed to finally feel like spring. So
nice. We had nice weather when we were at the cottage. We were so lucky. I was wearing shorts.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is that's very surprising for our area.
I could have wore shorts today, but I wore jeans. But I could have wore shorts today. It was nice enough.
Yeah. I wore shorts today. It was nice.
Yeah, it's really nice today, and it's supposed to be nice all week. So
nice.
But yeah, let's get into Guardians.
Let's get into Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. You putting a spoiler tag up?
I am. We're gonna get into Guardians Volume 3 spoilers. So
if you haven't seen it, let us spoil it for you,
or leave and come back after you've seen it. Whatever you decide.
Stay. But
yeah, it did well this weekend, so that's good.
It did very well. It's great to see.
115 million, I think, domestic. So that's pretty solid, and hopefully it continues on that path and doesn't drop off of face of the earth like Ant-Man did. But
yeah,
we can say we're both really liked it.
I fucking loved it.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
We haven't really talked too much about it. We talked a bit about it, but yeah, I saw it Thursday night. I loved it. I'm going to go see it again this week while I'm out of town since I'll have some nights to myself. So I'm probably going to go another night this week and check it out again because I loved it. I thought it was so well done. I thought it was a great send-off, and I
best movie since Endgame for you?
Easily.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think it makes the Guardians trilogy the strongest trilogy out of all the Marvels, out of the MCU stuff. Maybe not beating Avengers, but I definitely think it's one of the strongest.
I would agree. It is definitely one of the strongest. It's hard. Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
But first Avengers not amazing.
First, yes.
Like Captain America, like the first Cap. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not.
I would agree with that, and I would agree Spider-Man's been pretty solid. But I agree that I think Guardians. I might like Guardians better than the Spider-Man trilogy. So you're probably not. You're probably not wrong. Yeah, I loved it as well, and I think it's easily the best movie of Phase 4 and 5. I will not be seeing it again because here comes the spoiler warning. It was emotionally absolutely devastating. I cried for probably half the movie. Without getting into spoilers yet, but I mean, just be prepared, they're coming. But
Yep.
I very, very much enjoyed it.
I saw the viewer count drop one.
Yeah, somebody bounced.
So it's like, oh shit.
But I loved it, and I highly recommend it. I definitely think you owe it to yourself, as even if you've fallen off of the Marvel train, there's nothing in this movie that you have to have seen any of the other movies that have come out since Guardians 2, really, other
Agreed.
than Endgame.
This is very this is very isolated to
very
Guardians.
isolated, very self-contained, and other than the Christmas special, which they do touch on a little bit from it.
I definitely would recommend going in after seeing like the Christmas special. I wouldn't say it's essential viewing, but I think it definitely helps.
It adds
like fill in the story a bit, right?
It adds flavor to it for sure, and like, yeah. I mean, obviously, you got to know that like Gamora died in Endgame and everything, or Infinity War, but like, because that's a huge part of the story. But like, none of Phase 4 movies or Phase 5 movies so far are referenced in any way. There is no touch on other universes and any of that shit. Like
no multiverse.
It's all.
Nothing. I guess the only multiverse thing is that Gamora is not from our timeline, but.
Right. But they don't talk about it, and there's no references to Kang in any way. So
she just keeps on saying like, "I'm not your
Gamora." Right?
Yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, let's dive into some story shit and like what you love, what you hate, anything you hated. I don't know.
So here's what I loved. There's nothing I hated. There were definitely a few things that I rolled, but I would say all of my dislikes are like so minor. They're so minor that like most of them didn't even stick with me like enough to even remember. But like the things I loved that every single one of them, even the minor ones like Cosmo and Kraglin, got a chance to shine and like make an impact. I loved the team aspect, and I loved seeing how far they've come as a team. Like and just like how smooth they all work together. And
I would second.
I mean, you would say?
I would second all that. Like that was. I was very shocked at how much screen time everybody got. Like
I know, and it didn't feel like forced. It didn't feel like
it's definitely a Rocket leaning movie, but like everybody, like I was shocked at like that Mantis and Drax got as much screen time as they did, considering the Christmas special is basically a 40-minute Drax and Mantis story. Like
I have to say that I think Drax is the best part of this movie.
Drax got a lot of screen time. He got a lot of the comedy bits. He's still a fucking awesome badass, like in a lot of the scenes, and he got the proper send off. Like, we all thought going into this that like they were gonna kill somebody major off, and we assumed it would be Drax just because of Dave Bautista's, insistence that he won't do any more, as Drax, and he won't be in any more Marvel movies, and like. They held back, and they didn't feel the need to kill him off. He got the proper send off, and you got the end to his story, which was perfect.
I think one of the things, it was weird because once I finished, I felt so like on the line about it, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm happy that no one died or if I'm upset that no one died, because like I do think it would have added a lot of weight to the story to have one of them go. But the fact that they were able to wrap it up and have it emotionally, like, I don't want to say heavy, but like, and to have a level of emotion to it without killing anybody, I think was really impressive. Like the fact that they wrapped it up and like we could never see any of them again ever in the movies, and like I would be fine with it. And doing that without anyone dying, I think is pretty cool.
I think it was just a really well-written movie. Like clearly
I agree.
James Gunn knew what he wanted to do with the trilogy. And, despite him claiming a few things that he wasn't happy with during Infinity War and Endgame that they did to the characters, like he wasn't overly stoked with a few things in there, like Star-Lord being the reason that like everything is fucked up in Infinity War.
Right.
He said he really strongly didn't like that. Killing off Gamora definitely like kind of changed off, I think, a little bit of what he had planned, but
he did so well with this.
He did it perfectly. Like it brought the right amount of tension for all the characters. They all have a story arc they all are learning something about themselves, working as a team, and like it just works. It doesn't feel gimmicky. It doesn't feel tied together in a way that was like cringy in any way. Like it just it works.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their moment, and everybody's like has their ups and downs and their peaks and valleys, and it just it works.
Yeah, I agree. It was so well balanced. It was just, yeah, there's nothing really negative to say. Like, I hated Groot's "I love you guys."
I did too.
I hated it. I was like, that's fucking lame.
Cringy as shit.
Yeah.
That was the
Like,
only that was the cringiest scene in the movie.
me too. I thought that was the cringiest too, because I was just like, really? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a now, I mean, we're obviously deep in spoiler territory here, but like the animal stuff really, really affected me. Like a lot of the movie obviously involves the origins of Rocket and how he became like the walking raccoon that he is. And like it was very, very sad. A lot of it fucking like almost every flashback with Rocket made me cry. Almost every single one.
Not all of them did for me, but there were definitely a few in particular obvious ones where, again, we're talking spoilers. So, like the parts where, he makes all these different friends. There's like a walrus and an otter and a rabbit and him. And they're like kind of like cellmates basically. And they're trying to just like make the best of their shitty situation.
And they all have like these aspirations of living a life outside and not being in their cage together. And like they basically, this is like the origins of him wanting a team around him. And
yeah, his family, right?
Yeah. And it fucking broke me.
Yeah. Well, when High Evolutionary kills all his friends, I was just like, ooh, man, talk about a great villain too.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Like easily the best villain since Endgame.
Oh yeah. He was fucking great.
You hated him the entire movie.
Yep.
He did exactly what he was supposed to do. You wanted them to overcome this fucking asshole. And yeah, like I understand what they were doing, and like it's an easy manipulation hurting animals. Of course you're gonna like fucking hate the villain, but yeah, it just like this is a movie like Matt's talking about seeing it again next week. I can't bring myself to go see this movie again. I don't know if I'll ever watch this movie again, even though I loved it. It was just I don't want to sit there and cry for an hour. It's very heavy. It's very dark at times.
Yeah.
And like this is not a movie to bring a young kid to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm kind of arguing with my wife because she keeps saying, "Oh, I read that it's so graphic and there's like all this mutilation of animals." I'm like, "Well, it's all implied. Like nothing. You don't actually see anything.
It's all implied.
It is dark. It is dark for sure.
It's
the
dark
darkest
movie.
Guardians movie we've got.
It's the darkest Marvel movie.
Yeah, probably is. Yeah, yeah.
Like there's cursing in this movie that
most of these movies don't have. That was a great F-bomb too.
Yeah, it was.
Open the fucking door.
It was not something I expected them to actually be able to do in the MCU. There's a lot of comedic moments and like a lot of funny moments, and like they all worked for me. Like nothing fell flat for me. Like I thought the whole movie was hilarious. But like the dark moments definitely, like I cried a lot. My eyes hurt by the end of the movie because I had cried so much during the movie. And like, yeah, I would not bring a young kid to like anybody under the age of like 10. I would say like you're gonna have a hard talk with your kids after this movie about like life and death and the loss of loved ones and how you deal with that. And like it is gonna be a rough movie for young kids.
It was there was a few moments that hit me like really hard that I didn't expect to hit me really hard. Like there's a big chunk of this movie where like basically Rocket's like dead or dying.
Yeah, he's in a coma.
Yeah, so basically what happens is the person who made him kind of puts like a kill switch in him. So basically, like if you ever try to do anything like medical to like try to save his life,
tampering with him in any way.
Yeah, it's just basically like tampering with somebody else's science project. So it just basically self-destructs and kills itself. Right. So Rocket's injured in a battle, and they're trying to like get these codes to like bypass the kill switch. And like that's what they spend kind of a good chunk of the movie trying to do. So Rocket's like basically dead for like a good portion of the movie.
First 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Yeah. So But yeah, the part where like he gets back to life and Nebula hears his voice, man, and then like she breaks down. It's like
Oh,
she's
I
like the
know.
hardest motherfucker, and then like she breaks down. Like I fucking bawled
Oh
my
yeah, I
eyes
was.
out. As soon as she started crying, I was like,
Yeah, it's so weird how much fictional characters can like mean to you, but
totally,
like the art of good storytelling to me is like making you care about characters that you
yep,
know aren't real. You know,
yep.
this is a talking raccoon in
It's
the
like even
movie.
silly. Yeah, that's the thing is
Yeah,
like you're crying over a talking raccoon who likes to shoot people with guns. Like,
yeah. But like that whole movie, I was like, if they fucking kill Rocket in this movie, I am going to bawl. Like I am going to bawl uncontrollably. And like I didn't expect them to do it, but I also didn't expect them to kill all his animal friends. Like I thought,
I figured they'd kill the animals.
well, at first I was like, oh man, like as soon as I seen all his little buddies, I was like, they're gonna fucking kill these animals and I'm gonna be devastated. I don't want to like these animals because I know that it's coming and I'm gonna be
Yeah,
broken. But then I also thought, like, look, these are all like science experiment creatures. Like there might be a way where like they can kill them but bring them back to life through some
right.
kind of technology, or like Rocket figured out a way to like make them look dead, and it was like a big scheme, and at the end he was going to have them, he set them free somehow or something along those lines. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
no, that you get no happy ending with these creatures. Like they're gone, and that's what brought Rocket on his journey of like
yep.
he's kind of an asshole and he doesn't really want a team around him, and that's why he pushes people away, is
That's
because
why he doesn't want to talk about it too, right? Because it's
yeah,
obviously
it's
weighs heavy on
devastating.
him. Yeah,
He
yeah,
feels responsible for these creatures, and he was freeing them, and then they all got killed, and like that's why he's so hesitant to have loved ones. And
yep,
I definitely thought that we were going to get a scene with him and Groot getting like when he met Groot at some
yeah.
point during these flashbacks, and the fact that we
Yeah, I'm
didn't get that, I
surprised he
was,
didn't.
yeah, so like maybe that's for the sequel.
Maybe.
They want to save some kind of story arc there, but yeah, like it I loved it. And as sad as it was, like I loved learning about Rocket, and I thought it was really well done. Like I loved every aspect of that. Like it all made
Yeah,
sense. It was all like, I didn't think anything was gimmicky or like cringy in that. Like I thought it was all really good.
yeah, yeah. I liked it a lot, man. Honestly, like there's very little in it that didn't work for me. Everything worked for me. I liked how we start with like Quill just drinking himself to death, basically over Gamora. And I like the progression of trying to get through to the new Gamora as he kind of works alongside her. And it just like I feel like it was like a really good continuation of Quill's character. I
My
like,
only problem with like the Quill drinking thing, which made sense, but like it just felt very Thor-ish. Like
yeah,
Thor kind of losing his way and becoming this like fat slobby alcoholic. But like it worked for the character because I understood where they were coming from. But
well, and they wrapped it up pretty quick. It wasn't
yeah,
like an overhanging thing. Like,
no,
within 20 minutes, it was kind of resolved, right? We didn't go
right,
back to him being like a boozer at that point. Like, it's just,
yes, yeah,
but I
yeah,
like how they were kind of like that whole opening bit is just like a joke, right? Because it's like,
yeah,
Quill's fucking killed himself drinking again. All right, let's fucking go and clean him up. And the
yeah,
Guardians all go in and just pick him up. And
yeah, totally.
it's like,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I liked all that too. And like, how did you feel about Adam Warlock through this movie? Because like, I going into it, I really thought I was gonna hate him, and I didn't hate him. I don't think he got as much screen time as I expected him to get. Like, I don't think he was a big enough part of the plot where I was like,
Yeah, I didn't expect him to be a big part of the plot, really. I mean, I personally didn't. I don't know, like I didn't dislike him. I
yep. I thought he
like for
played it well
me,
enough.
it's not that I don't think like for me that I have the when I look at him, all I hear is "Don't go chasing waterfalls" from Meet the Millers. That's all I can see.
Right,
Like, and
right.
it's like it's one of those times where like I just cannot separate the actor
Yep.
from the role. Like I see him and like all I hear him do is do his little TLC waterfalls
Yeah.
rap in the middle, like when he's in Meet the Millers, right? And
That,
I'm
that,
just like, I can't look past. I can't get past it. So, and
yeah,
it's
I
not
don't.
even a thing with the character because I don't even have attachment to the character. Like I know
No,
the
either do I.
character, but
I
it's
don't think it was the right actor choice to play Adam Warlock. I like that was what took me away from it in all the trailers and everything like that as well. Like I just think it was the wrong choice of actor. But watching the movie, I felt like he did an all right job with it.
yeah,
Like
he served his purpose. He did
yeah,
what he needed to do. He moved the story forward, and like even going back to Quill drinking, right? Like, you know, if Quill wouldn't have been fucking drunk
Hammered.
and
Yeah.
basically inebriated to the point where he could help out, maybe Rocket wouldn't have been in the situation he was in. So like,
Right.
yeah, it was okay. I liked it. I liked it enough. I didn't dislike the role. I just had a hard time accepting that he was the one playing the character. So,
and I think he got a good enough character arc where, like, I mean, again, this is kind of ruining the after credit scene, but we find out the next team of Guardians, and obviously he's going to be a part of it, and so, I think the character progression enough, he'll kind of fill that Drax role, of like kind of not very knowledgeable about human interaction and not very knowledgeable about like,
and he's the muscle too, right? So
and he's a big muscly, guy. Like I think he'll definitely fill that Drax role, and I think it will work.
Yeah, true that.
I enjoyed him. I can't say like it was something where I was like, ooh, this doesn't work at all. Like it was a small enough part of the movie where it worked.
And it worked enough that it made sense how the what are those people called? The Sovereign, the gold people that he's part of. The Sovereign. It was a good way to like incorporate them into the story as being like beings that High Evolutionary created. So it was like a cool tie-in there, right? Like,
it made sense for everything that worked for the rest of the villain arc and the rest of the Rocket arc, and it all gelled together in a well enough way where it felt a little ego-ish, like the whole plan of like creating this utopia world. But
it's funny that you say that because I didn't actually even notice that until you just said that. But
it's very similar in plot to like the second movie, but I think everything is done better. I think it's a better villain. I think it's a way more exciting movie.
Yeah, all the action scenes are really good.
It's way funnier. Like there's so many
Drax scenes in this movie. Beating people up is just like
it's so much fun to watch.
Fucking brutal, man. He just beats the fuck out of people, and it's just like it's awesome. It's so awesome.
It's so fun, and like, I love like the James Gunniness of this movie, like all the weird creatures and like, it made me laugh. Like maybe that's like my weakness for Marvel movies is because that's what I also loved about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was like all the random creatures and shit on the planet or in the quantum realm. But I loved it in this movie too, like the actual like fake Earth or whatever the fuck it was with all the weird like animal creatures. Like I loved it. Yeah. I thought that whole thing, like that whole planet thing, was awesome. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, that was fun. I agree.
Yeah,
I Quill trying to drive the car was funny too.
Yeah. Like it all worked, and it all like really like made me laugh. Like just seeing the giant panda using the lawnmower on his grass. Like I fucking started cracking up because I was just like, it's not something I would ever expect to see, but like from the mind of James Gunn, like it just works, and his sense of humor just tickles my funny bone. Like I just like the way he writes and the way he thinks. Like it's exactly my type of humor.
Yeah. So we end with the Guardians kind of breaking up in the sense that Quill decides he's gonna go back to Earth and like spend time with his grandpa because he's like decides that like it's time to stop running away from his past or whatever. Well,
Mantis kind of convinces him of that,
yes,
right?
Mantis convinces him. Yes, the lily pad, the reference to like being learning to swim or whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean like him knowing that Mantis is his sister now, and like her kind of convincing him that like he may still have other family on Earth, and like he shouldn't be running away from them. He should be using the time he has to enjoy them before they're gone. And he kind of makes a whole joke about like his grandpa would be like 90 something years old, and most people only live to 50. And then Mantis saying like, "Oh, so you don't got long left?" Like, and he's like, "I'm not 50. Like, what the hell?" Like. Maybe just because I just turned 38, like that, it just made me laugh. Like I was like, "Oh fuck, I am almost 50. It's coming down the line. Like fuck me." But it just
he does that, and then Mantis decides that after doing everything for Ego and then flipping to Guardians and doing everything for Guardians, she wants to take time to do stuff for herself.
And I think she'll be back.
Oh yeah, the thing that's nice about the way they ended this is like
anybody can come back.
Anybody. And like the thing is you could go 10 years down the line and need a home run and be like, let's bring the OGs back.
Totally. I don't think Dave Bautista will come back. Like I think he's pretty set in his ways. Yeah, you never know. I mean, I mean, look, Hugh
Money
Jackson.
talks, man. Money
Hugh Jackson
talks.
said that he wouldn't come back to play Wolverine. Like
Exactly.
Robert Downey Jr. said he won't come back to play Iron Man. I have a feeling at some point down the line, if they offer him $40 million, he'll come back and play Iron Man. Like, Dave Bautista, same thing. Like if they need him for something, I'm sure that he'll do it if they need to. But like,
same as
even
Zoe too.
Yeah,
Whoa, Nike boy,
Nike
what
boy.
up, man?
Long time no see, brother. How you doing, buddy?
We're talking Guardian spoilers, so if you don't want to know,
yes. If you don't want to know any Guardian spoilers, I apologize, but I hope you do and stick around. Yeah, they could bring anybody back, and like fucking Peter Quill there, fucking I'm so bad with names. Why do names escape me as soon as I go to say the name?
Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt. He just recently mentioned like he would be willing to come back
if the story's right.
If the story's right and they get the right director. And that's the weird part is like, who is the right director moving forward? Like, that's such a hard thing to say. It has to hit the right tone, and like somebody to come in and fill James Gunn's shoes is just such a tall order.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, the one thing I hope they don't do is I hope whoever comes in to take over for James doesn't try to do what he did. Like,
no, I don't think
the thing is you're never going to be able to. And on that note, I have to say that if James Gunn is going to put out this type of material at this level and this quality, man, Marvel Studios better sharpen those pencils, because like,
but the problem is
DC's going to kick ass if he's bringing that to DC.
My problem with it though is like, how do you? I mean, this is way off topic of Guardians, but how do you fit that tone and that comedy style into Superman? Like, tonally, Superman is like serious and boring,
but he can be that, but everything around it doesn't have to. Like, that's the thing, is like he's so good at working with different types of personalities. Like, even look at the core Guardians team and how different they all are to one another, and look at how well he marries all those bits together.
But I also think Guardians is set up in a way where you can add weird shit to it and it makes sense, just because like, hey, we're out in space and we're going to these random planets, and like I don't know the source material of Guardians well enough where I can say like, one for one, the comics and the movies are like, you know, right there. Like,
they're not.
I know they've made changes, but like I know there's elements they've taken and elements they've left. Which I think any good adaptation does, right? Is you have to be adapting for the medium that you're using, and like not everything carries over well. We saw that with Last of Us. Not everything can carry from a video game to a show. Yeah, totally fine. Superman doesn't have those like I don't know where you fit it, that kind of comedy and tone into Superman. Now maybe he's not going for that comedy and tone. Maybe he's like,
it doesn't need to be silly. Like, it can just have like,
but like that's
levity.
That's like, what like he's great at. Like Peacemaker worked because he made John Cena be a silly fucking character that was super rated R, and like I don't know what you add to Superman to make it have that kind of comedy or tone. Like I just don't think it works for that character in any way.
I just think though, when I think of DC movies and when I watch DC movies, I always am like, what an unorchestrated mess this is. Like, I feel like nothing works together, and it's just like all these worlds collide, and like none of it really gels, and none of it really feels authentic. Totally, and I feel like James Gunn does a great job at making all these different components work together in a way that just really feel authentic and like, you know, legit, right? And
I totally agree. And like, do you know how hard it is to get a trilogy out that all is cohesive and flows? And like, look what we've seen with Star Wars.
Yes, you know, totally.
To make a good trilogy of movies is very difficult to do. There's always one that's really bad, usually. It's just the way it is. And he's really, really like everything he's done so far. I love. I'm sorry, but like the Suicide Squad was great.
Suicide Squad was great.
All the Guardians movies, obviously great. Peacemaker, the show, great. I have all the faith in the world.
I still need to watch that. I didn't watch Peacemaker.
Oh, you got to watch it. It's fucking phenomenal.
I know. I like John Cena as him in Suicide Squad. So,
dude, you're gonna laugh your ass off at that movie. It's right up our alley of comedy, and like you'll find it so fun. It's R, like it's way more adult than this. So
yeah, nice.
But yeah, like I'm very, very interested to see what he does in DC, and like I really hope that he's given the bandwidth to do what he wants in
Yeah, like
DC,
let
and
him
they
do his
don't get
thing.
a first bomb, and then they go, well, we're pulling the plug on that. See ya.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's what I'm worried about. But all the stuff he did in Guardians, like I love the way he sets characters up, and I love the weirdness of it, like his character designs, the alien designs, like whether that's all his doing or if he just has the right team behind him. Like I have faith
Mhm.
that he can bring that to DC and really have a style and tone that works. That's
Yeah.
very different than what Zack Snyder did in the DCU, you know?
Yes, I agree.
Um, but like, yeah, like I loved all his random alien planets when they go into that like Oregon style planet thing.
Oh, that was so gross.
It's like gross looking. They're
And
like
then
cut.
Drax gets stuck when he goes.
It looks like Drax is getting given birth to into this like planet, and like all the like random like suits of armor that all look like this like flubby, like I don't know. It all
Yeah,
made sense,
yeah, I
and
know.
it
They
all
look like
worked.
weird, like microorganisms. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I love that ongoing joke with the main like general guy of that group, and he's like, I
I
have
hate
one
this
of
guy
those at
too.
night. He talks about having like a dumb person that works for him, and every
Yeah,
time he comes across someone, he's like, I have one of those guys too.
boss's nephew.
Boss's nephew.
Yeah. And then like everything with Peter like thinking he's like kind of a ladies man and can like get his way with
That was
the
great too.
receptionist, and like
That was great.
he's just slowly trying to prove to Gamora that like he's this like ladies man kind of thing. But Nike Boy, who all dies? Nobody,
No
really.
one dies.
None of the main cast die.
None of the main cast die.
We do get, as I was talking about earlier, we do get a lot of animal friends dying of Rocket, but
Yeah.
that's all in flashbacks, and it was very emotional. Like I bawled a lot, but it's a proper send off for all the characters, and we didn't
Yeah.
lose anybody, so they're all clearly welcome back at some point if they choose to come back.
That's what we kind of said before you came on, Nike Boy. Was I was saying like at the end of it, I couldn't. I don't know if I was like happy that they all stayed alive or sad that no one died. But then once I kind of put it into perspective, I was like, this was a great send off for all of them. And you didn't have to kill anybody to make it feel authentic and to make it feel like emotional. Like
Yep.
it still felt emotional. He was able to capture that without killing someone. So I'm like, in some ways, I'm like, I guess I should be happy of that, because if something happens down the line where they want to bring one or any of these characters back, it's an option. It looks
Totally.
like we're going to continue the story of Star-Lord, because the second post-credit scene basically confirms that the legendary Star-Lord will be back. My guess is they're going to keep him on Earth, which
My
would
guess is
be an
Avengers
interest.
Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, I feel like it would be interesting to see him on Earth instead of in space, because kind of changes up the setting a bit, and you could probably do a little bit different, something different with that.
I think it brings the like techie Iron Man side to Star-Lord. Like I think he always is relying on like, you know, rocket boosters and shit on his shoes, and like, you know, guns and all this weird alien tech, and like not maybe having that available on Earth makes like his choices a little different. But who knows? Like this world is weird now that all the space shit has infiltrated our planet. So who knows? But like I would like to see like even I assume it's going to be Kang Dynasty that he's in, but like even if after that like he doesn't do another, he's not part of the Guardians movies, and he's like maybe he guest stars in like somebody else's thing, like
something,
like a Spider-Man movie, and he's just there, or like whatever.
Honestly,
like,
I'd be fine with a Star-Lord movie. Like I like Chris Pratt
totally.
as Star-Lord. I think he plays the character so well. So like
I agree with
I'm
you.
I'm there for that. If they want to do it, I'm there for that. I don't necessarily love Chris Pratt as a like an actor as a whole, but as Star-Lord, I think he does a great job. I'm less compelled to see, even though that final version of Groot in the second after credit scene, like when they kind of introduced the new Guardians team. So basically the new Guardians team is Rocket, Groot, Cosmo, Kraglin, Adam Warlock, and one of the young kids that they rescued from High Evolutionary's world, which in the comic books, I believe, is meant to be Moondragon, who is Drax's daughter.
Yeah, it's not Moondragon though. It's Phyla.
I think that's Moondragon though. Pretty sure that's Moondragon.
No, she has a romance with Moondragon. It's Phyla Vel, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but
I think you are.
She's a LGBT character that has a relationship with Drax's daughter in the comics.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay, there you go.
Which
Yeah,
is
because Moondragon is Drax's daughter in the
yes.
comics. There we go. Okay. So yeah, so that's the new team. So
Which I like. I thought they did a really good job with Cosmo in this movie.
me too. I love the whole bad dog joke that went
Yeah.
through the whole fucking thing. That was so fucking funny. But he called me a bad dog.
Yeah, and like Cosmo wasn't even a huge part of the movie, but it was there for the perfect like Kraglin kind of team up. Just how they do like Drax and Mantis. Like it was a perfect little team up there where I was like
at that very end where he's trying to hold it and she's like, she's a good dog.
Yeah. The fact that like Kraglin has like a little buddy now is like perfect. Like I think that was a perfect team up.
I like that they brought back Yondu for that little piece too.
I told you he'd be back in some kind of scene. I told you.
I didn't think. But it's cool to see that he's back for Kraglin this time instead of Peter, which was
totally
nice.
And like this Kraglin learning to control the arrow and stuff. Like I loved it. I thought it was
talk about a great opportunity to let one of these guys really shine. And it was cool because he got to do it multiple times.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
He got to do it multiple times, and the second time he did it, where like he successfully did it, it's still like it worked. So he was like so proud of himself because it worked. But then it ultimately was just like, bink! Yeah, like, didn't do anything, and he's like, fuck. But then the next time he gets to do it, it changes everything, right? And he ends up like kind of like saving the day. So it's like, it's so cool to have that.
He got that arc again, like
that good send off, right?
Yeah, and like. That's what I'm saying is like everybody kind of has a buddy, and now Cosmo and Kraglin are kind of buddies. You know, you got Rocket and Groot, you got Mantis and Drax. Like,
Mantis and Drax still are the best.
But right? I love that it wasn't forced. Like you saw that like kind of romantic pairing happening, and you're like, oh fuck, this is gonna end up like in this cringy, like forced romantic thing. And it wasn't that. It was like they're good friends, and Drax was disappointed. She wanted to go off, but like it wasn't like this forced romantic pairing, and it worked. I thought it just worked.
I thought it worked really good too. I was just actually, it's funny because I did a pre-recorded episode of Between Two Sentinels with Matthew Toy and Jay Shot last night. Like I recorded it for the 17th of May. And we kind of talked about Guardians a bit because like by that point it'll have been out for a few weeks, right? So and one of the things that we kind of talked about was like Drax and Mantis's relationship. And I was saying how like it's fun because it was even present in volume 2, right? Where like they're kind of sitting there and Gamora comes up and she's like, what are you guys talking about? And she's like, I'm learning all kinds of things. Like I'm a pet and I'm ugly.
I'm ugly. And then by the end though, he's like, you're beautiful on the inside.
On the inside. I like how when she like tries to come on to him and he's just like, oh.
Yeah. When he thinks she's climbing into bed with him or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, no, like it's that perfect, like you can tell there's a little bit of a romantic hint there, but it's also like just this like friendship that like
we're just friends.
And it works. Like I don't know. I'm glad nothing was forced.
Harbulary batteries.
That's not what they're called at all.
They're called harbulary batteries. No, they're not.
It's great, and we get those creatures back, which was a good callback.
Yeah, that was great too. Yeah,
Mantis can control them through her touch, kind of, but she realizes that they just want to eat batteries. They don't want to eat people. That's great.
Oh, man.
But yeah, everybody got the proper send off, and like I'm very glad that we get the next team up. Like we can get a Guardians 4 movie, we can get a spinoff for Star-Lord, and maybe we even get like a Mantis spinoff of some sort. Like maybe it turns into a Disney Plus show, or maybe she comes back to help, the Guardians, or who knows. But like that's always an option. That like if Palm Clemente wants to come back, like,
any of those characters, if they came back, I'm in. Like I love them. Right. I'm less compelled about the new Guardians team, although I will say that big ass Groot in that final scene was fucking awesome. He looks just like in the comic books.
Yeah, totally.
Looks so imposing and just big and scary,
and we got like the proper Peter Gamora send off too. Like
totally. Even that, I like that he didn't end with them being together. Like I like that.
Yeah, Gamora, she's a different person,
and I like that it kind of shows that she goes back to the Ravengers. So like, for anybody who is in here and hasn't seen it, like Gamora, this new Gamora, like is like the leader of the Ravengers, or like she leads it with Sylvester Stallone's Starhawk or whatever his name is.
Yep.
And it's cool because like at the end when like the Guardians are all together and like embracing each other as family or whatever, we see that like she has that with them too, right? So it's like, you know, it is still, she still does kind of have that side, even this different version. It's just not with the Guardians, it's with the Ravengers instead, right? So
yeah, and
that.
like
I like that a lot.
again, it wasn't a forced romantic like, oh, they kiss at the end and everything's
that's
perfect.
the thing.
Like,
I expected him to finish with them being together, and I'm so glad that they didn't. So
that Peter kind of gets over it, realizes that she's a different person, and like
yeah,
it's not his Gamora, and Gamora basically tells him like, you know, I loved helping you guys, and like I understand kind of your side of things now. Like she has that kind of character arc of like coming back down to earth, and she's not just this badass Ravenger, but like I'm not your Gamora. Like I have different desires, and like my love for you is purely platonic or whatever, and like that's totally fine too. And like it worked out well, and
that whole bit when they're using like the comm lines or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
blue is red and the red is yellow and the green is orange.
Yeah,
and
why would you
how would I ever know that? Yeah.
That was so funny. He thinks that he's talking to just Gamora on these like headsets.
In this like really like, deep romantic conversation.
And then all of a sudden, like Drax is like, "We can hear you. You know, everybody can hear you, Peter."
Why would you tell me that way before I had a 10-minute dialogue with Gamora? Yeah. It's great. I love that they brought back the Zargnut thing.
Oh god, the Zargnut thing was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Can I have a Zargnut? There's no more.
Yeah. It's just that Drax Mantis like pairing just works so well. They just have so such a playful like comedic timing thing that
I love
it's
it,
great.
man.
Yeah.
I love it so much, and I love the dynamic between Mantis and Nebula too, and like how like heated.
I love Nebula this whole movie. I love
Nebula. Too. Nebula was fucking great. Yep. She was so good.
Was she not part of the new team?
She wasn't part of the new team, but remember her and Drax stayed on to like rebuild nowhere or whatever, right? That was the plan. I
think she'll be back in some way too.
I do too. Yeah,
she's just too good of a character. She's
a great actor too, man.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no, I like I said, I loved it. And I just hope we get a bunch of more movies. Like I don't know who you could get to direct this stuff. It's gotta have a different tone though. They can't just keep doing like the music beats and
I agree. Like you need to change it up. It needs to feel different.
It has to have a different style and a different thing.
I think it will. Honestly, I think we'll see Star-Lord before we see the Guardians again, and I'm fine with that.
I do too. I think the Guardians need to rest for like
I do too.
Like phase 6, phase 7, something like that. Like bring it back.
You can wait a while. But you can even bring them back to help out with Kang Destiny, their dynasty, whenever that happens.
Well, I think I honestly don't even know if you need the Guardians as much as like Peter's the main star or side star of that movie. But like I think after that, like it would make way more sense to bring back when like mutants are a thing and like you get that whole like cosmic shit going on with X-Men and like all that stuff. Like I could totally see them bringing back Guardians then, but like I don't know, do you need a phase 6 Guardians movie? No.
Yeah, I mean the thing is they're gonna have their hands full already with shit, so it's gonna
I mean we're running a little bit long than we normally do, but like this writer's strike is definitely gonna push down a lot of stuff, but that might be a good thing.
I agree. Well, I also heard that Feige is refocusing his time to be put into the movies and stuff. Like, I read that he's like more involved right now because of just how everything's been going, and so which is good.
I think that's good. I think you know the writer's strike is going to give them time to properly manage everything and slow things down to a point where. You know, I'm not saying drip feed, but I'm definitely saying like we don't need 7 shows a year. Like let's actually focus on what's good, what's quality. Let's make sure.
I'll take 7 shows a year if they're good. I just don't want the level we've been getting. Like it's not necessarily the quantity, it's the quality, right? And it's just
I think this gives them time to make sure special effects are top notch and they're not rushed. And I feel like that's a lot of people's complaints about the last. Like this movie was perfect. I didn't have any complaints about this movie. But like,
see, the thing is, like, I don't even like. I do think the CGI was worse in Ant-Man than other things, but like, the CGI is never bad enough to take me out of it. And like to me, at the end of the day, I can handle some not as good CGI if the story works. The problem is like nothing feels important anymore.
But this is what I'm saying too, is like with writers being on strike, obviously they're not working on things right now, but this gives people time to go.
But
hey,
the head people can be working on stuff,
well,
right? I mean, they'll still need the writers to do the work, but I mean, the fact of the matter
well, they
is
could
they can look at something and be like,
right,
this is why this doesn't work. This is why this doesn't work.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be like we have to figure out how to keep moving ahead. Now there's
exactly.
We have
a beat where we can review scripts and go, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
When we end this strike, we need to get writers back on this script and make sure that this is up to
tighten this shit up.
Yeah, and you know, we're hearing that Secret Invasion is hour-long episode, 6 episodes. It's already in the bank. The whole Jonathan Majors like issues going on with recasting that character and everything like that. Well, Loki's already locked. Loki's done. It's filmed, and he's in Loki. So, do we get that recasting? Well, now they have time to figure out, okay,
what to do.
What are we gonna do? If he's going to court or there's a trial or whatever the fuck's going on, this gives it a beat to let that happen. And all right, we're definitely going to get delays. Like Blade's already been like, it was in filming. They're saying like shut down like until the strike's over. So Blade's going to get pushed again, like guaranteed. It's going to be a phase 6 movie. Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like they're in a rush to fix the issue either. It seems like from what I've been reading, it's like a lot of the stuff I've been reading online is saying like, this strike's going to be around for a little bit. So,
well, like last strike when it happened in what I think it was 2007 or 2008. We got a shit ton of reality shows to cover up the holes of everything missing, and I assume this is what you're going to get is this fall. There's not going to be a lot of new shows launching. It's going to be a lot of reality television on all services, not just TV, but like Netflix, Disney Plus. You're going to see reality show fucking mayhem. And I know for a lot of people that's a bad thing. I love reality shows, so that's fine for me. But like I said, it will give them time to figure out what the fuck they want to do. But this is also going to push all the stuff that DC's announced to. So
true. It's take them longer to get started. It's a bummer.
So I would expect next year to be very light on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, probably.
Depending how long this goes. I mean, if they finish it, you know, in the next few weeks or something like that, then maybe not as much. But I think in 2007, I want to say it went for like 3 months. And there was a big hole for.
I'm not looking forward. I mean, I'm already missing my late night shows.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
missing.
I don't watch them live. I'll watch.
I only watch like the monologues and like I don't really watch the interviews as much unless there's ones that are.
Sure, I watch bits and pieces here and there, but I don't.
I watch monologues pretty much every night for Seth Meyers and Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel. Sorry,
Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah. I don't like Fallon either, but
I don't like Fallon.
Nike Boy, Mindhunter is not coming back. I wish because I love that show. I think that show was phenomenal, but Netflix officially canceled it like a few weeks ago. And
is Mindhunter a reality show?
No, it's about the start of the FBI criminal profiling in the 70s for serial killers.
Gotcha.
It's on Netflix. It's got 2 seasons. David Fincher was like the director and lead producer on it. But yeah, it's not coming back. They officially canceled it and said it's done. It was way too high budget, and
they said you're dead.
Not enough people watched it. So sadly, I love Mindhunter. I wish it would come back, but maybe down the line, maybe 5 years from now or something, Fincher decides he wants to bring it back. But I also wish Fincher would go back to movies. Like I love David Fincher, so we'll see. But so next week we are definitely going to do a whole little video game thing about childhood memories of video games, stuff that got us into video game stories from our childhood.
Up, down, left, right, A-B start.
Yeah, hell yeah. So that's what we're going to do for next week, and then we're going to kind of play it fast and loose with the next few weeks.
That's my nickname.
Yeah, well,
fast and loose.
We're going to cover Always Sunny season 16.
June, right?
Start of June. It's coming out.
That'll be the first week I'm back. That week, the Saturday before that comes out, I'll be in Anaheim, so I won't be able to do the show.
Okay.
But the week, we can cover that first week because I'll be back that Saturday. So.
Beautiful. And then Secret Invasion starts the end of June, so that will be kind of that. But like we'll have next 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
we'll just have random topics, and then we'll jump back into stuff. But it's
yeah.
been a while since we've had off weeks where we didn't have shit to cover. So
yes, that's good though. It's fun. Sometimes that's good. We'll do some music stuff. We'll do some video game stuff. We'll do some other stuff. Maybe we'll do another show where we watch something we haven't seen before that we get ridiculed for not seeing. And
sure. We'll always take suggestions.
Actually, as I was watching trailers for from Guardians, like at the theater, like in the theater, that new Indiana Jones movie actually looks pretty good. Like, I might actually end up seeing it because I was like, oh, this actually looks minorly compelling to me.
No,
so I might do it. I might do it.
Don't think that movie looks good. I don't think that movie's going to be good. I don't think I can bring myself to watch more Indiana Jones. I really don't.
I'm gonna see as we get closer.
When you guys were talking about it on that
Ernie
show, Ernie show, yes,
the Fallen Chronicles,
the whole time I was just like, God damn it, Matt, you're being way too kind right now. That movie was dog shit.
That's funny. Oh, look at we get an extra promotion. That's fun. Speaking of that, on Monday, this coming Monday, I am on Toy Talk with the Toy Daddies. Ooh, Toy Daddies.
That sounds like something it's probably not.
We talk about anal beads.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Unmentionables. Where's Neil? Man, I have to share with you. I won't say it on here. I'll share it with you after. Neil, remember when I did that Ask Me Anything a few days ago?
Yep.
Yeah, you should see what Neil sent me.
All right.
Terrible. I couldn't even. All I did was did like one of those emojis. Like, oh god, man.
Great. Yeah, no. I pimp all your stuff that you're going to be on because you did.
That's what I'm going to be on.
Yeah, you did great on the Fallen Fett thing. Like I thought
that was so fun. That felt like so easy though because I fucking love Ernie and he's so funny and
you guys had good chemistry.
I feel like he has good chemistry with everybody, so I feel like it's really easy to do. But yeah,
I mean your takes on Tekken were awful, but yeah.
Fuck. That was funny. Yeah, so I'm on Toy Daddy's Toy Talk on Monday on their YouTube channel, and then the following week on the 17th of May, which is the Wednesday, I will be on Between Two Sentinels with Matthew and Jay Shot, and then I will be on Whip Wednesday Live immediately following. So
that's the 17th.
That's the 17th.
So
Whip Wednesday Live will be back on May 17th, and my wife is going to be my first guest back.
Wow, nice.
That's awesome. Interesting. Yeah, I should be in for some good lighthearted ribbing. So, yes.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'm excited to watch that. That's wonderful. I'm glad Kate
will be funny. I don't think she'll do it for long, but she'll jump in for a little bit, and then I'll just do some customizing after that. So
not every episode has to be 3 hours, brother.
Well, I mean, I'll still probably go for 3.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying with her,
Yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah, man. That's what I got. That's it.
Dude.
And then Instagram. Follow me up on that shiznit.
Yeah, as always, follow us on Instagram. We always appreciate a good follow. At Moose Milk Media, at Customs by Matthew for audio-only listeners. You can go over to our YouTube channels and at the same handles, subscribe there. Yes. Let the show grow. Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Tell your dog. And tell your dog to tell all the other dogs in the neighborhood.
Go around the neighborhood. Just tell them all.
And then you can play Who Let the Dogs Out, and then all the dogs will go out and have a party, and they'll talk about it. But then they can't subscribe because they don't have thumbs.
This is fan fiction at the best. Yeah, no, and then grab the podcast on subscription podcast services because we have audio only people out there that check out the show, and please subscribe. And
if you're into that sort of thing,
if you have any movies you'd like us to cover during our little 3-week break here, please feel free to comment. We can definitely take some some ideas and see what we want to do. But thanks everybody for checking us out, and thank you, Matt, for joining me tonight. And we'll catch you next week.
Being a hot piece of meat.
Oh, that's me. 38-year-old me, hot piece of meat. And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
See you, Nike boy.